The Ural Mountains stood as icy sentinels. Their peaks pierced the January sky. A group of hikers, young and full of life, embarked on a journey. They ventured into the heart of this unforgiving wilderness. Led by the experienced Igor Dyatlov, their goal was Otorten Mountain. This peak held a sacred significance for the indigenous Mansi people. The hikers, 10 in total, were prepared for the harsh conditions. They were equipped with skis, maps, and a shared love for adventure. Their laughter echoed through the frozen forests. Their spirits were high, unaware of the darkness that awaited them. The group faced blizzards and sub-zero temperatures. Their resolve never faltered. They documented their progress with diary entries and photographs. These records would later become crucial pieces in a puzzle that would baffle investigators for decades to come. On January 28, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill. He was forced to turn back. This decision would unknowingly save his life. As he bid farewell to his companions, he had no idea it would be the last time he saw them alive. The remaining 9 hikers continued their trek. They carried on towards their ill-fated destiny. The hikers reached the slopes of Kholat Syakhl on February 1st. This mountain bore an ominous name, Dead Mountain in the Mansi language. They set up camp on the exposed slopes. This was an unusual decision for such experienced hikers. Something was amiss. Night fell, blanketing the mountain in an eerie silence. The darkness held its breath. Inside their tent, the hikers prepared for sleep. They were unaware of the unseen eyes watching them. They were unaware of the chilling terror that was about to unfold. Hours later, something unimaginable occurred. The hikers, driven by an unknown force, tore their way out of the tent. They fled into the freezing night. They were barefoot. Some were only partially dressed. Their belongings, including shoes and warm clothing, were left behind. It was as if they had been driven mad with fear. The silence of the mountains swallowed their screams. The frozen wilderness bore witness to their desperate flight. But what had they seen? What had they experienced that could make them act with such frantic abandon? Weeks passed. The silence from the hikers grew longer. Concern turned to alarm. A search party was assembled. They were tasked with venturing into the frozen wilderness. The fate of the Dyatlov group hung heavy in the air. On February 26th, the search party stumbled upon the first signs of the tragedy. The hikers' tent was found abandoned. It was sliced open from the inside. A scene of chaos greeted them. Supplies were scattered. Footprints in the snow led away from the tent, disappearing into the woods. A sense of dread filled the searchers' hearts. 2 bodies were discovered nearby. They lay under a cedar tree. They were identified as Yuri Krivonashenko and Yuri Doroshenko. They were barefoot. They wore only their underclothes. Evidence suggested they had attempted to build a fire. They had failed. Their frozen fingers were testament to their desperate struggle against the cold. The search continued. 3 more bodies were found. They were sprawled in the snow between the tent and the cedar tree. Igor Dyatlov, Zenaida Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin had seemingly tried to return to the tent. Their deaths, like the others, were attributed to hypothermia. But something didn't add up. A creeping unease settled over the search party. The scene was too strange, too unsettling. The discovery of the first 5 bodies sent shockwaves through the search party. The circumstances of their deaths were bizarre, unexplained. The missing 4 hikers deepened the mystery. The search continued into May. The spring thaw revealed their final resting place. Their bodies lay in a ravine. They were buried under a thick layer of snow. This location was even further from the tent. The injuries on these bodies were even more perplexing. Lyudmila Dubinina and Semyon Zolotaryov were found in the ravine. Their chests were crushed. The force required to inflict such injuries was immense. It was as if they had been trampled by a giant beast. The bodies of Nikolai Thibault Brignol and Alexander Kolovatov were recovered. Their injuries added a chilling new layer to the mystery. Thibault Brignol's had suffered a fatal skull fracture. His skull was crushed. Some victims were missing their eyes and tongues. These injuries were inconsistent with an animal attack. The mystery deepened. whispers of an unknown force spread through the search party. Section 5. The Weight of Silence. The Soviet Investigation. The deaths of the 9 hikers sent shockwaves through the Soviet Union. The official investigation was shrouded in secrecy. The findings did little to quell the growing unease. The authorities concluded that the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. This vague explanation did little to satisfy the victims' families or the public. Many believed the Soviet government was hiding something. Rumors and speculation ran rampant. The investigation noted the strange orange hue of the victims' skin. Some reports mentioned high levels of radiation on their clothing. These details were quickly dismissed. They were deemed irrelevant to the investigation. The case was closed. The files were sealed. The Dyatlov Pass incident became a chilling whisper, a chilling reminder of the unforgiving nature of the Ural Mountains and the secrets they held. Section 6. Shadows of Doubt. Theories of a Tragedy. The official explanation of an unknown compelling force did little to satisfy the public's curiosity. Theories about the Dyatlov Pass incident flourished. They ranged from plausible to the downright bizarre. Some experts pointed to the possibility of an avalanche. The hikers may have been caught in its path as they slept. The force of the snow could explain the traumatic injuries. However, this theory failed to explain the hikers' strange behavior. Why had they fled the tent? Why were some of them partially dressed? Others proposed the theory of hypothermia-induced paradoxical undressing. This phenomenon can cause individuals suffering from severe hypothermia to remove their clothing. This theory could explain the hikers' state of undress, but it failed to account for the severe injuries and the strange orange hue of their skin. The mystery endured. The lack of a definitive explanation only fueled the flames of speculation. Section 7. A Cold Case Thaws. The 2019 Investigation. The Dyatlov Pass incident remained a subject of fascination for decades. In 2019, the Russian authorities announced they were reopening the investigation. This decision was met with a mix of hope and skepticism. Could modern forensic techniques finally shed light on the mystery? The new investigation focused on 3 possible scenarios: an avalanche, a slab avalanche, or a hurricane. Investigators hoped to determine which of these scenarios was the most likely explanation for the tragedy. The investigators used 3-dimensional modeling to recreate the conditions on the night of the incident. They analyzed the terrain, the weather patterns, and the available evidence. Their findings suggested that a slab avalanche was the most plausible explanation. They theorized that a small avalanche could have struck the hikers' tent. This could have caused injuries and forced them to flee. Section 8. Lingering questions on the mountain's slopes. While the 2019 investigation provided a plausible explanation for some aspects of the incident, questions remained. The force of a small avalanche seemed insufficient to explain the severity of some injuries. The hikers' bizarre behavior, such as fleeing the tent and removing their clothing, remained unexplained. Critics of the avalanche theory pointed to the lack of typical avalanche debris and the hikers' experience in such terrain. They argued that the group would not have camped in an avalanche-prone area. The mystery of the missing eyes and tongues also cast a shadow over the avalanche theory. These injuries suggested a more sinister force at play. Some researchers pointed to the possibility of animal predation or even human involvement. However, no concrete evidence supported these claims. The Dyatlov Pass incident remained a haunting reminder that some mysteries may never be fully solved. Section 9. The Enduring Mystery of Dyatlov Pass. The Dyatlov Pass incident continues to captivate and terrify people worldwide. The combination of a remote location, unexplained deaths, and bizarre details has cemented its place in the annals of unsolved mysteries. Theories continue to circulate. They range from secret government experiments and UFO encounters to encounters with indigenous shamans and mythical creatures. Books, documentaries, and even feature films have explored the incident. Each attempts to unravel the truth behind that fateful night on Dead Mountain. The true story of what happened to the Dyatlov Pass hikers remains elusive. The incident serves as a chilling reminder of the power of the unknown. It is a stark testament to the fragility of human life when confronted with the unforgiving forces of nature, or perhaps something even more sinister. The Dyatlov Pass incident, with its lingering questions and unsettling details, will likely continue to fascinate and frighten for generations to come. The mountain holds its secrets close. The wind whispers through the trees. It carries with it the memory of 9 young lives lost, a mystery that may never be fully solved.